and what it does. Yes. You know, we may not castigate UPE as the issue, but we are looking at the product, because UPE and use those schools, the two secondary and primary, they are doing their work. But before we look at nywe tuzine aza tushemererwe tukulonjinga Sky TV na Radio 5 aho muri Mbarara iworinka ho naho kuturebera ija tuzaguze tushemererwe tubase kulonjinga Sky TV na Radio 5 omuri cyuruhura baba mnongo reka tuzombureke tugarike azo targaho.
Sky TV irakari abantu.
Ekigunda cha Sky TV Radio 5 kwatanise na Sky TV baba isama kuru marungi g'ekigunda cha Sky TV ebiro mushanju byo kwakana eryabere Good Friday emirimo yona neija kwemerera ahabwo kuberya yanga imihanda yona iryabayorekerire University in Mbarara imwe mwena batureni bari aba Sky TV na nimwe mwena batureni bahurikiza Radio 5 Sky TV yagaruka yeta mwena mwije tushemererwa hamwe tuzine dance turye tushemererwe haryaba harabeshongozi bamani bona kurwo mu Western nabandi bamani kurwo muri Kampala bebembirwe Shimba Karungi Ray G na Omega 256 okutaha muno mutwaro gumwegonka rero VIP emitwaro ebiri meza yagura kasente kache emitwara 5 yonka yabana tutahamo kutandikana shaha munana zihangwe paka busheshire utaferwa munywani wanje aho niho rimanyira presenters bona ba Sky TV na ba presenters ba Radio 5 okaganira na bola ivandikiriya ebiro mushanu byo kwakana Good Friday bikushanjori po nyabura mamwije turonchinge TV yitu Sky TV irakarya abantu okwenda kumanya bikushiraho teresime yaziro mushanu mushanjina nshanju atano nina shanju nina nango tere yaziro mushanu 0 emwe chenda ni 2 kinana ni 2 anani 3 ebyo byona bishajikigwe Sky TV Star 5 Motel Radio 5
mgenu nyowe na unakuba ndya drip muryare banareta na muryango mpagatira macupa
Aba White Mark Cosmetics Manufacturing Company Limited abari kukorera akabaza ka Honeypot Herbal Gentle Wash nibamanyisa abashubuzi mwena kuba beyigurireho amataji aho muri kubasa kutunga akabazi k'abakazi aka Honeypot Herbal Gentle Wash Mbarara mukashange ahari Buremba Road achombeko cha Mbarara City Mall iyabireri nakumati omu Fresco Supermarket ninga ahari Mbaguta Street achombeko echa Easy View Complex omu New AK Cosmetics Shop Educa number F05 kumanya birukiraho tera not mushanju ina emwe atano nibiri chinana nibiri chenda nibiri ninga not mushanju mukaga not 13 abiri nemwe nshanju na mukaga
ukuriya kwenari kunga shemere ndi kuryaha kandi yondi kuyo waje kungi mukamwakizo kunyirira
kale chiamani Rosemary wakahuta kahiko mu magara munyoni wanje no shemererwa noza kugira nkamagara marungi bakureba hanyuma ye Sunday ayibambe noza kuntebeza Rosemary ndi kubasa kubaho ntajinywire ikiriza nguyo Rosemary ekyamachi ryo mu Rosemary echo kunywe cha Rosemary hamwe n'amajani ga Rosemary Herbal Tea nibikogo mu Rosemary enyabarashana omujanja omururuza esteem hamwe n'endimu beyamibwa ba UNPS teresime ya 0 chenda na mwenda 03 abiri na mushanu nange ya 0 mushanjibiri atanu na mukaga 08
turebere nshonga za rukundo aharubajuro mwami no mcyara boyfriend na girlfriend narishi abantu binja bariyokwe habiremo buticurizana haba mno tabanko mumaka turebere ngwebi neveretwa mu obutesugana okushango tinde vunanizwa aha mukundwa wawe too much expectations kandi na lack of respect for your partner ebyo nabishanje aha Sky Television on program nyamurungi ya Love Drive eraberho buri rwakana na Sunday shayina necweka paka shayitano necweka ezo mchiro sakwantu kusiyaho amabaraka g'abantu harimo inshonga zitari zimwe na zimwe tukusiyaho no habuzi kurga abantu abariyokwe nanyo mhereza wa Olivia Kamsime tushanje aha Makarista Road hihi na Kabaterine Primary School narishi aha social media platform zona Sky TV UG official Sky TV irakarya abantu
otaferwa programu y'omukozi buli lwakana shaisha tunechweka kuhika inane chweka z'omukiro
nanye omuhereza wawe agaba $10 abakozi abarukora emirimo yabo emirimo y'emukono ntija kuba ntubakuretera aha Sky TV obase kubegeraho iwe omunyeto ryokwe toine murumo ninga shitoru kukora no basa kwegera abakozi aba obase kugira ekiwayitandikiraho na nitwe aha Sky TV irakari y'abantu.
Program Party Time aha Sky TV na nyamuhereza wawe aine nina bursande kuyashaha mushanju kuyashaha 10 zo mwabazyo egi niyo program yarabeno rebera birungi byonka emikoro mirungi decoration sensia gown sensia makeup sensia byona noza kwa ushanga aha Sky TV ne shanga ma Crystal Road omurembo orwambara aha henyine noho kubasa kutungira iwo kwenda kureta emikoro yawe kwenda kureta byona no basa kubitereza ntu byoreka aha Sky TV shanje aha all media platforms Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok byona no banochanga tamu Sky TV UG official no banotunga je buterevu aha aho shitame henyini nanyo muhereza wawe aine nina omushiki wanyu.
Sky TV irakari y'abantu.
Dear viewers, you are welcome from the break. Twakwakira omulebwito omulungi wa Sky TV uriari education and patriotism. Aza ntugamba nshonga ya communication. Communication nekizimu munonga kandi obuzibobu nubuletera abantu babura kukora ebibasheme ku bantu bakora. Na munonga omukusolovinga ninga sho mugonjora issues of society. So in this special edition abarebito abarunyi muza kusasira sometimes ntuteka mu bugambo borujungu because of the guests we have brought. Na bo babase kutushomesa here and there different issues ezikwatirine na communication. Aza tureba barriers za communication. Nenje kikuletera communication yaba stagnant ekabura kuhika hesheme kuba neza ekabura kusolvinga cyesheme kuba ne solving. Uriya Sky TV education and patriotism. Omwami, let me begin with Gilbert. Gilbert, in your view, do you think debates have been given time in school or not?
Debates have not been given time. Maybe during some years ago, before the current government introduced free education, which later converted into competition. Even our government-aided schools do not, of course in private schools, debates used not to be so much important because they were, for instance at P7, schools wanted to perform very well in mathematics, SST, English, and science, full stop. So debate is for what? And when this school performs very well, another one is also looking forward to defeating the other schools, something to do with that. So when free education entered into our system, in our education system in Uganda, debates faded. Actually, there are many things that faded, that died completely. We used it to do handwork. Handwork is no more. That's why, I don't know if it is because the government is shying off that it has introduced something to do with vocationalizing a curriculum and whatever, but we used it to have handwork. I used it to know how to make a tray.
But handwork is to be done in this new curriculum and it is being done.
Why is it being done today? We had it before. We had it before in primary schools. Why was it? So with free education, please. Now, at the end of it all, we had to lose also things to do with the debates. Because the head teacher of a government-aided school is looking at Kalenje Memorial Private School as a school that is going to defeat them. So what do we do now? Instead of debate, let us go and read mathematics. Let us go and study SST instead of debate. And the debates they molded us, please. Debates they made us what we are.
Then why is it that we are having products that are having challenges in communication?
Just because of debates. Somebody learns English very well and passes it at P7, even at Senior 4, but is unable to communicate to the public. Okay. Reason being is issues to do with self-expression. He or she did not experience them while schooling, was only concentrating on his books, together with the teacher, and then at the end of it all, you name awards the English, good distinctions that so and so has passed very well, a school so and so has passed very well and defeated the rest of the schools in mathematics, in physics, things to do with that, when there is no debate. So why do I concentrate on debate? No, because the other school will defeat me. Now you are killing something that this person is supposed to be using in the future. Will not be able to express, will not be able to communicate very well to the. And I don't know if our president is allow me to speak it in Runyankore Rukiga bit. Tinda manyahabwench president witu wa Uganda atalitwe Shoni. Some time back he visited the Ibanda district. We had a function, an NRM function there. He said in his speech that he doesn't know why people no longer know English.
Kigambo mu Runyankore ekyo.
Nguwe taramanya abwencha abantu bat ngwabanyankore actually akakoresa kigambo abanyankore rujungu rukabarema. Ngurukabarema tari kumanya na abwencha. Aza yayebwa ngo government ye niyo yaresire bona bashome ngo bashome. Ko twashomire twena iwe kandi niyo waresire cyo kushoma twena. Abwencha kwisore buza abwencha tari kumanya rujungu. Abashomesa bawe abwencha batarutwegisa.
Gilbert, let me come back to you. Dear viewers, ninga shabo gamburu Runyankore. Omwami Gilbert nagira ngo iraho omyaka yahwire maybe before the coming of UPE na education eje turumu ngo amashomero gakagakora handwork gaza no mu debates abana gabaguruminga kugira ngo bego kugamba umumpaka zo kugamba debate yo murebe wito murunjo wa Sky TV ne mpaka zo kugamba ase mpaka zo kugamba ezo nguzikazi guruminga abana baba abantu bumugasho konke birebe Gilbert nagira ngo ebyo bikawaho ngo amashomero go kigakwenda nigenda kukisaba no mu first grade kandi ba directors bafune sente babase kweyongera emisho ngwe ebe kwatinene na vocabulary na debates na communication tubakuha time. So studios again nyine expert English communication coach Umami Kiyemba. So Kiyemba, yes. We are talking about vocabulary development.
Yes.
In your view, you are saying that if a person doesn't have enough words to speak, it is what causes problems in their speech.
Vocabulary. For you to communicate, you must be knowledgeable. Therefore, we must embrace the knowledge component. It is the one that gives room for vocabulary development, for reasonability. It is the one that enables you to design and redesign the content you are going to communicate. Because now we have a challenge of the low vocabulary syndrome. Let us have a simple exercise that can enable us
gain 10,000 vocabularies. You can practice from where you are. I have written here a vocabulary, education. Education. The Honorable has also written education. Anyone is free if you are on the media watching us on Sky TV. But let us just have a math test of creating out of this just 100 vocabularies. All words. From words you will realize the vocabularies by simply using the letters, making this mother vocabulary. Whatever you create, you note down. If you are there, now you can see a vocabulary, say caution. C-A-U-T-I-O-N. You can't copy, you can't cram, because we are fighting the memory decay and mind stagnancy. We want you to be actively engaged. Even if you Google, even if you open your dictionaries, you won't find this activity there. It is you yourself, enter into yourself and become a theory. To communicate, you must have designed you yourself the content you are going to give out, not copying somebody's message or content. So from education, you can see I have caution, I can have noon, letter N, O-O-N. You can use a letter more than once if it appears here. And test yourself just to make it 100. I can see code, C-O-D-E. Here, you engage yourself, you create your own vocabularies and words that later will be transformed into a message you are going to practice, and then you speak out. Vocabulary is of 4 types. Communication is of 4 types. Reading vocabulary, writing vocabulary, speaking vocabulary. So you must be the real architect of this content. So as I'm doing, you also do, because you are going to get back at us. How many have you done, Honorable?
About 10.
Can you talk in camera, show the world, the public?
There are about 10 words I have made out of the word education.
Can you read them to the world? Self-evaluation.
One is the word eat. I don't think you have it there.
I don't have it.
I have the word cat.
All those are from the word education.
I have the word nation. I have the word no and own.
Can you generate at least some 5-6 letter words and above vocabularies?
Yes, I can.
Because we have the John and the Mary vocabulary. This is the easy on article. If you get space, you can't really communicate.
Exactly.
Can you test yourself?
In terms of
concentrate and develop more. We say 100, but no, give us 20.
The moment we concentrate on the word education alone, we can make it. We can many a lot of words out of it. But I'm just showing you that I can do many as long as I have enough time for it.
So our viewers, if you are there, parents, teachers, directors of schools, district inspectors of schools, the media fraternity, give us time, give us more space. Parliament, government of Uganda, embrace these new transformative approaches. They are going to add a greater value to improving our education as we build our knowledge economy. The know-how game has come at a time when it is entirely fitting that we need to garner strength and we do something to liberate our learning system.
Thank you so much. Maybe abahurikiriza bitu abakutureba aba Sky TV side y'Orunyankore abakana nabagira ngo igin special edition omwami Kiyemba yaro nagezeho ku demonstratinga oku developing ebigambo orukubihe mu kigambo cyumwe aza icyo nagira ngo it comes from the ability of the child kuba nekiba kweta originality. Aza abashomesa English composition. Aza English composition ejo oshanga, that is where the words are generated. Ebigambo ebyo nebirgo mu composition na omu debates. Kugira ngo debates aruna ageze kugira ngo abana babere neglected activities ezo tuzakiruho ekiretira abana obashoma just to pass exams bariyo kutari kugira ngo they have that confidence. Abako mwana ekigambo kwa kuche developingira ngo kuyaba natugambira at educational kakuche developingira at the end nchimugumo mutwe and is able to develop more words, more vocabulary ekibasa kumuletera ya communicatinga effectively. Ako bantu bagira abagambi abo umwami Gilbert na Kiyemba bagira ngo lack of confidence ni kirgo mutagira ebigambo bikumara. So when you have enough words, at least nchibanchi kuyamba to be confident. And Mr. Kiyemba, yes, you have something to say just in 1 minute as we move on?
I want to share my contact with the public.
No, before that, you share the contact.
I'm making a call to the media, especially Sky TV. Now that you have given us this heavenly sent opportunity to share with our nation, give us more time, give us more opportunities. The heads of schools, open those doors for us. Directors of schools, give us the chances. We are here to help you.
Bwana Kiyemba, you see Sky TV is the only TV in Uganda that has given the chance, the platform for such programs to come. But let's come back. Let's first go for a short break. As we come back, we shall have more of the discussion concerning communication and how it can solve the challenges. Nibinje bitu neganira uka reka tugarike katuzum break esha hanche then tugarike.
Sky TV irakari abantu.
Ekigunda cha Sky TV Radio 5 kwatanise na Sky TV baba isama kuru marungi g'ekigunda cha Sky TV ebiro mushanju byo kwakana eryabe Good Friday emirimo yona neija kwemerera ahabwo kuberyabe yanga emihanda yona eryabe yorekerire University in Mbarara imwe mwena batureni bari aba Sky TV na nimwe mwena batureni bahurikiza Radio 5 Sky TV ya nagaruka yeta mwena mwije tushemererwa hamwe tuzine dansi turye tushemererwe haryaba hari abeshongozi bamani bona ku rugo mu Western n'abandi bamani ku rugo muri Kampala bebembirwe Shiba Karungi Ray G na Omega 256 okutaha muno mutwaro gumwe rero VIP emitwaro ebiri emeza yagura kasente kake emitwaro 5 yonka yaba nsutahamo kutandika na shaha munana zihangwe paka busheshire utaferwa munywani wanje aho niho rimanyira presenters bona ba Sky TV n'aba presenters ba Radio 5 okaganira nabo live and clear ebiro mushanu byo kwakana Good Friday bikushanjori po nyaburama mwije turonchinge TV yitu Sky TV irakarya abantu okwenda kumanya bikishiraho teresime ya zero mushanu mushanjina nshanju atano nina shanju nina nango tere ya zero mushanu 0 emwe chenda ni ibiri kinana ni ibiri anani ishatu ebyo byona bishajikigwe Sky TV Star 5 Motel Radio 5
ngenu nyowe na unakuba ndya drip muryare banareta na muryango mpagatira amacupa
aba White Mark Cosmetics Manufacturing Company Limited abari kukorera akabaza ka Honeypot Herbal Gentle Wash nibamanyisa abashubuzi mwena kuba beyigurireho amataji aho muri kubasa kutunga akabazi k'abakazi aka Honeypot Herbal Gentle Wash mbara mukashange ahari Buremba Road acombeko cyambara City Mall iyabireri nakumati omu Fresco Supermarket ninga ahari Mbaguta Street acombeko echa Easy View Complex omu New AK Cosmetics Shop Educa number F05 kumanya birukiraho tera not mushanju ina emwe atano nibiri chinana nibiri chenda nibiri ninga not mushanju mukaga not 13 abiri nemwe nshanju na mukaga
ukuriya kwenaje kunka shemere ndi kuryaha kandi yondi kuyo waje kunki mukamwakiza kunyirira
kale chama ni Rosemary wakahuta kahiko mu magara munyoni wanje no shemererwa noza kugira nkamagara marungi bakureba hanyuma ya Sunday ayibambe noza kuntebeza Rosemary ndi kubasa kubaho ntajinywire ikiriza nguyo Rosemary ecyama kiryo mu Rosemary ecyo kunywa cya Rosemary amwe n'amajani ga Rosemary Herbal Tea nibikogo muri Rosemary enyabarashana omujanya omururuza esteem hamwe n'endimu beyamibwa ba UNPS teresime ya 0 chenda na mwenda 0 abiri na mushanu nange ya 0 mushanjibiri atano na mukaga 0 mushanu
Lunchtime request show aha Sky TV okurugoro kubanza
Shaha gatano
shaha munana
shaha 10 z'omwabazi no twanta omudi achamushana
akushaba keshongoro
shaho birthdays no manya oryoko to kumanya muntu wamane wo celebrating na birthday
twinemu obutumwa bwingi aho surprise calls ziri no basa kohereza obutumwa mama wawe tata wawe omwana wawe nenga shi boyfriend wawe nenga shi ex wawe
kuruga shaha munana shaha 10 z'omwabazi
hanuya
aha Sky TV
iraka ry'abantu is the boy king
Madonna Cavs baby
bam 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 bam
Sky TV iraka ry'abantu
mwebare munonga mukurukeyo omu short break. You are watching Education and Patriotism azo mu studios nyina bagenyi abo mutano. This is special edition na nabagambire. I have Gilbert Karenge ogunomya mahurure is also an analyst kurugibanda, and I have a communication coach Kiemba Ronald from knowledge rethink knowledge think tank. It is in Kampala, and then again our visitor, very important visitor, director wa Mina High School sa twakwachira, and for the second time you are most welcome to Sky TV Education and Patriotism. Maybe tutaka gumizemu, you can say hi to the viewers, then tuengere misho.
Good afternoon viewers. As I said, my name is Educ&Patriotsm. I'm an educationist. I'm happy to be in this presentation.
Thank you so much. Miss Kabazire is watching us from Kampala. Miss Kabazire, thank you so much for watching Education and Patriotism. We love you and keep watching. Then we also have, this is some viewer from Rukunjiri, is the son to Nyansio Kajirem from Nyibingo. Thank you for watching. He's also saying, the environment is not appropriate. For example, if there is a lot of noise, the receiver is not interested, the channel of communication, then appropriate communication, etc. Thank you for watching from Rukunjiri. Dear viewers from the whole country, thank you for watching Sky TV. Ntubakunda munonga. Aza kurameji niyo program yonka eri kubasa kuletera ebintu ebikwatire no kushoma. As a tugamba barriers to communication. What stops the message from reaching the source? And what could be the problem? Mr. Chiemba, the head teacher, director, Mina High School. You found us talking about the issue of debates.
Yes.
Debates are looked at as the way of instilling confidence for public speaking. So we are wondering, are you as schools still giving time to debates, or you are concentrating on only tests and exams?
Oh, thank you very much, Mr. Moderator. Schools are still giving enough time to debates. And actually, there is in almost every school a debating club. And the members, they have committees, they have a secretary, a chairperson, and every week there is a program for debating on a weekly basis. And even there are some inter-school competitions. Schools visit one another and debate. And at national level also, there are competitions which can be hosted on national television stations and radios. So there is time for debating.
Mr. Director, one would wonder, if a person goes through such systems, why again do we still have different challenges as far as communication is concerned? Public speaking fright. Why do we have that fright amongst the people? Yet everyone, especially amongst the educated, they still have challenges. You know, so you see somebody shaking before the public, talking is a problem. Even if somebody has what to say, you look at them just shaking. Where is the challenge?
I think the challenge partly is because of the examination demands. So there is an overload of examinations, and people look at how much they can pass in terms of distinctions, in terms of being in grade 1 for A level, how many can get 20 points. And sometimes you find that even when there is time for debate, some students are somewhere hiding, reading books in order to get grades.
Usually?
Little do they know that these grades will not help them if they cannot communicate, if they cannot make themselves understood, if they cannot convey their messages. So, but that's the challenge that they want to work. Our education system had become result-oriented. People are aiming at getting high grades, and they miss the importance of acquiring other skills, especially the skill of communication.
Now that we are seeing different incidences in communication, what are you trying to do to rectify such? Of recent, we saw the MP sometime back. I think the woman MP massacre because it was a public secret.
Yes.
Parliament.
Yes.
Of recent, we also saw another MP speaking what somebody may call the is and was English.
Yes.
And what is that sending? What picture is that sending to the younger ones in school? Yeah. And how are you trying to? What are you doing to make sure you guide these children to understand the importance of public speaking?
First of all, maybe on that point, I'll first thank our government and the NCDC, the National Curriculum Development Center, the National Curriculum Development Center. The new curriculum has a component of guiding that. Because whereas in the past, the teachers would come and sit in the front and do all the talking in the class, and the students would do all the listening. They were at one end, the receiving end. But the new curriculum demands every child to be speaking, even in the course of the lesson, because the students are grouped and the topic is presented, and everybody must present. Then as a group, if when everybody has made his contribution or her contribution, they put their facts together, and one of them is allowed to go in front and make a presentation on behalf of a group. Now, one group has a representative. If you have like 10 groups, it means the 10 students are going to do what? To make presentations. Now, in the next lesson, the other ones also will have a chance to make what? Presentations. So if you look at now at the senior ones and senior twos and senior threes, where the new curriculum is working, the students have gained more competencies of communication. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Abarevita barungi bwana director arona jirango debates zikino mugasho. As I'm going to debating. Debating. Of course, there are some stubborn students who are doing debate says over when debates are going on. NCDC ningashi National Curriculum Development Center ekine kitongole ekikuvunaanyizibwa bintu ebikushomesebwa mu kibiina nayangu batiro elements of new curriculum ningashi periods where children will find themselves debating and talking. So that talking will create more confidence in them. And at the end of the day, noza kushange bafuna skills to communicate even in public. Bwana Gilbert, we are talking about the issue of exams. He talked about the issue of exams. Yes, Kiemba. Exams, yes, exams are good. But we have elements where we find like English examines composition. Even other subjects, all subjects in Uganda apart from Ruganda and Runyankore are examined in English, and maybe German and others. But mostly examinations are done in English. Where do the students get that vocabulary if we are saying what they have is not enough? It's okay, it's okay.
You gave examples of those who have ever failed the public speech, and you gave an example of a member of parliament, and you have forgotten, number one, the president one time President Museveni feared the debate. At some point, you remember.
Let's not go political. Let's not go political.
That is a capital example. Then other examples will follow.
He feared debate.
Yes, and it did not take place because he was absent.
The president cannot fear the debate. Maybe he was busy.
I don't know. But of course, the explanation is always there. It's always there. Even when it is intentional, the explanation comes.
But later, as if he came.
Yeah, he came, but what took place, you know. Issues to do with exams and whatever.
Students do exams, they pass them.
Yes.
How do they pass them if they don't have enough vocabulary?
Of course, they have a vocabulary specifically that given to them by teachers. They don't go an extra mile because they have no time, first of all, like he said. All the time, even you call the child for debate. Tomorrow I have mathematics examination, which is examinable at P7. Then you are calling him or her for a debate. Even a teacher himself or herself say, now, debate, P6, P5, P7, don't go for debate. We have to go to class. You for preps and whatever issues to do with that. Now, where is this person going to get the debate? And if he or she has not attended a debate in a school, how is this person going to express him or herself in the public after schooling? I am so disappointed that even in the universities, you find the products of the schools. Where is the director? Yeah, you usually make a follow-up of the students who get out of your school after P7 or senior 4 like that. Make a follow-up and know if this person who has graduated with a bachelor's degree in whichever course,
and know if this person is able to express him or herself in the public, including parliament, where we had our member of parliament doing things that were so funny in the parliament.
Okay.
So there is no time for debate. Like you said, of course, first of all,
maybe it is not enough. Like as the director says.
But you are supposed to mold a child wholesomely not only on issues to do with performing very well at P7 or senior 4 or
later
senior
on
6.
we shall ask, maybe he talks, they're always in meetings with NCDC, why they don't put such kind of issues, or why, but he says those issues, the period for debate is there, and students are always debating, only that the challenge is some are stubborn. But let me come back to you, Kiyemba. How can we retool the teachers to see that they give enough content to help these children develop and perfect their communication?
Thank you, Samuel Later. Thank you so much, Director. We have got a brand of the know-how game, and this is a copy of the content. It has been designed with the proven techniques to ensure vocabulary development. Mr. Director, we have a challenge, which is the low vocabulary syndrome. Even when you form groups and one presents, they still need our efforts, because we need a learner at least to have 10,000 vocabularies. Vocabulary is universal. It is for every discipline has got its vocabulary. So it is a weapon we must acquaint ourselves with. So it is what will enable our teachers gain more strength in knowledge creation skills, in more knowledge exploration skills, in more industrious hard skills. They'll be able to mobilize knowledge. Knowledge is mobilized after being created, then published. Then you own that content that you have created, and then you demonstrate at that level of knowledge demonstration.
Thank you.
Give a chance to the know-how game as a new transformative knowledge brand. By organizing seminars, we need to meet your teachers and learners in your areas of locality. We retool them, we buttress them.
Thank you so much, Bwana Kiyemba. Kiyemba rona jirangu amashomero kushomesa n'abashomesa bakahereza abashomesa kushomesa abana na debates tuzikumara. Children should be exposed to various activities eza kubasa kubayamba kongera bigambe bibi abashomese bakubahereza aza babase kuperfectinga engamba yabo ninga shide ya confidence, because we are talking about confidence. Abana abakuba kwamba gamba you find sometimes in lacking a confidence na bamwe by the way choba kudojinjira debates. So I think chiyeme chagamba yangu schools should tap the knowledge everywhere. We have motivational speakers, we have the think tanks, we have different facilitators who come in schools kugirango abana babe exposed to such kind of people as abase kubegera. Mr. Director, what do you think? Maybe the problem is with language teachers.
Okay, thank you. I've been looking at the quality of teachers that the universities and colleges are churning out these days vis-a-vis the qualities of our time when we came out of the universities. I think there is some difference.
Where is that difference?
The level of competence, but even the level of commitment. But also, the discipline. You know, learning is a discipline. You must be very committed, you must be very disciplined in order to acquire knowledge. Acquiring knowledge is not an easy thing.
It's a process.
I remember when I was in secondary school, I was science-oriented. I wanted to do sciences.
I wanted to be a doctor.
But even then, by the time I finished my senior 4, I had read more than 10 novels. Actually, I even did literature at senior 4 because I wanted to improve on my vocabulary and my ability to communicate and understand other people's communications. Now, even in my vacation of senior 4, I read some few novels. Now, at A level, I did the PCB.
Were you forced to read, or it was out of your will?
It was out of my will. In my A level, I did the PCB.
Wow.
But whenever I was not busy doing physics or chemistry or biology, I would read a novel. I did my first degree, Bachelor of Sciences with Education. But even up to now, me, I read. I read electronically, I read the print media. But the students of these days are lazy. They want to do that literal that can make them pass exams and get the grades.
So you're saying teachers are doing their work, but students are lazy?
See, those are two different factors. Teachers are also not very
the committed. Products of these days.
Yes, they are not making the children do enough. But even the students themselves are also what? Lazy. But even the little time they can get, they want to devote it to reading books so they can get grades.
Now, in your view, Director, what should be done? Because we are talking about this challenge. It's a big challenge. Abana aba you produce them out by kaheru, but in echibakwasa kwekora. What can be done to promote or to ensure effective communication, confidence building?
One, government is doing its part, but I think the leaders of schools, the head teachers, have to take this one as a serious matter. Because you also become embarrassed if somebody is given platform like in parliament and cannot make a presentation and they say this is a product of your school. It means I think you also didn't do much. You share on the embarrassment. But some schools have tried. There are schools that are known for producing very good speakers. Their schools are there in the country, which are famous for that. But I think want to call upon all schools to know that it is important for everybody to be able to communicate and communicate confidently. But I think what the government is doing already is a contribution, is the right step in the right direction to make sure that the lessons, actually, let me tell you what schools have been doing. Schools have been training people to keep quiet. You go to school in P1 up to P7, senior 1 up to senior 4, a person who does not say anything in school is on his report they say this one is a very disciplined child. He doesn't make noise in school. He keeps quiet. He's not talking. So schools have been encouraging silence. Now, if the children are trying to talk, they say these ones are talkative.
And they are making noise.
They are taken as disciplined people. And there is a young man, there's some gentlemen I know who, actually not one, so many of them, who earn their living by just talking. And sometimes they are not talking a lot of sense, but are just constructing sentences out of different words, and then they become comedians.
That is comedy.
Yes, in the comedy, sometimes there isn't a very serious message, but they have an art.
Comedians,
they have art of making people laugh just because of the way they twist their statements, their words, their word, and this is a skill. Now, some schools cannot produce them because they told the students in those schools are keeping quiet, they cannot talk. So I think we need to understand this, that every skill is developed through practice. Like a footballer, you cannot play football if you have not played it. So you cannot speak if you have not been doing what? Speaking. For you to speak, you must have spoken. Actually, they say every successful adult must have been a successful child. So what you try to do as a child is what you do even as an adult. So
amurebe bito murunje wa Sky TV oriya Education and Patriotism aza turon tugamba nshonga za challenges za communication antabe nyine beshanga bashuyire ningashe bakufacinga challenges bashwara because of communication. As a director nagira ngo enshonga ezo kokushwara nota kushwara wenga nono shwaje ishomero nono yeshwaza no shwaje abasomisha abakushomise na buri omo wena arikuba nakumanya. So director nyina ntaka kazindaro ntaka kahire bwana Chiyemba nyenongo ngo as an extensive reader because it is a surprise kugira ngo ukakora PCB and you are a good reader up to now still reading. Nyenango omurebi wito mulungi na mnonga those children who are watching us in schools obahereze or give them some advantages of reading. You as a reader, what do you think can benefit these children in reading? And secondly, how does it empower their confidence?
The first advantage is that by reading, you improve on your language abilities, your comprehensive abilities, your ability to comprehend, to understand big volumes of information. Not just understanding things in very short sentences, but you can read a whole book and understand it and even be able to summarize it. But secondly, it even helps you yourself to become an effective communicator, to make sure that whatever you want the public to know, you are able to do what? To deliver it. But also, every information, wherever it is easy for you to get it. That is one of the problems actually that Africans have because of our inability to read, our disinterest to read books. Information is all over in the books, but it is hidden from us.
As Africans.
As Africans. Actually, there is one European who said, I've forgotten his name, that if you want to hide anything from an African, write it in a book.
That's so
actually, I read that statement. One time I was traveling and I had a magazine that I was reading. Then I came across that statement that if there is anything you don't want an African to know, then you put it in a book. You will have hidden it from him. So and most Africans actually, this interest in reading is not only in children, even adults. You find that a lawyer, the last time he read books is when he was at the university as a student, and the only thing he can read now is where he wants to get a reference of a case that he's handling. You find somebody who is working in the bank, for that one I don't know even whether he reads. Because read for what? They don't read at all. So the only people I think who can do some little reading are teachers.
Because they also do it when they are going to class.
When they are going to class. Otherwise, during holidays, they don't read. And I think this is a very bad habit for Africans.
Thank you so much, Bwana Director. Do you think lack of confidence that is causing problems for amongst the politicians and even other people that we don't know? You think it is because they don't read?
By the way, like you said, if you want to hide anything so that an African doesn't get to know, put it in writing. In the same way, the reason we usually meet challenges even when we are in parliament, when we are addressing people maybe in church and barrios and whatever, you know, a beauty of your politicians. It is because we don't read. That is one. Because we are unable to express ourselves. We don't have even what to express, what to speak out to the people. So in so doing, we fear. At the end of it all, you find I'm shaking, I'm touching myself here and there in communication. When we were studying communication skills, there are many things that our tutors taught us that indicate that this person is not a good communicator, is not a good speaker.
Listen to this message, just a moment. Thanks for the program. I think education is skills-centered than knowledge-centered, according to the curriculum. Maybe that one, the director will respond. What do you have to say?
But you see, even if you are educated...
Thank you, David, for watching. This is David Namanya from Wakiso. Thank you for watching Education and Patriotism, David.
So even if you are in school not because you want to be something. You are in school because you want to see right. That is the reason as to why we go to school. But the problem we have, many of us are in school to acquire degrees, so that if I acquire a degree, I get means of appearing to the director with my degree. I have not, of course, I performed very well in chemistry and physics, therefore he's going to employ me. But I have not read something to do with history. I don't know the history of Uganda.
But even the director will not employ you if you don't express yourself well.
No, in most cases, we are in school in order to acquire the requirements for jobs. So at the end of it all, the director will say, hey, you got a D1 at senior 6. Therefore, he's going to employ me.
Webale mnongo mlebito mulunjo wa Sky TV or Yadi Education and Patriotism. This is a special edition. I want to mixing a macaron kache because of the guests we have had today, and this is a special edition. So abarebita barunji burumu hantona imuli, you continue sending your messages. I'll be reading them, and people from Kampala, the Wanton people, old Kampala, Kawempe, Maganjo, Kawanda, Rukunjiri people, they are also watching us. Bushenyi, thank you so much. Please continue watching us and send the messages, and thank you for participating. Bwana Chiemba.
Yes, sir.
In a few minutes, what do you think can be done apart from empowering these people with vocabulary? Because there is empowering somebody with vocabulary and then confidence. We are looking now at confidence. How can we empower these people with confidence? Because that's the challenge that is disturbing people. Somebody goes to the microphone, begins shaking.
Confidence to speak, to communicate.
Yes.
Of course, you must embrace the knowledge publication skill, because what you are going to speak out must be your original creation. We must stop saying, hiding something from an African, put it in a book because they won't read. We must graduate from just being readers but to knowledge creators and become able to create our own content but knowledge. Through such a knowledge publication, a learner will revitalize knowledge, will gain the reading skills, the writing skills, the spelling mastery, the vocabulary development. So the root cause is for our directors to give us space to embrace knowledge publication skills because learners are exposed to how content is created. But today, even if you ask a question, what is photosynthesis, somebody will Google. What is there is what a teacher will say, you have not given me the correct one. But we can train this learner, we can nurture ourselves to avoid Google, and we become knowledge creators and we become sources. This is what we must do that gives the real functional confidence. And we graduate from being copycats, Mr. Director.
Thank you so much, Wana Chiemba. Mr. Director, I wanted you to respond to this David Namanya's message that the education being skills-centered and knowledge-centered. Could you give more light of that? What do you think?
Yes, I'm going to come to that, but let me supplement on what Mr. Chiemba has said. Recently, I interacted with a teacher who wanted a job. And in our discussion, it was like sort of an interview. He had an A in history.
Did he know?
No, he didn't know. We just made it simple and silly. So as we were discussing, this graduate of history knows only his father, didn't know his grandfather and the parents of the grandfather. So he doesn't know his own history. He does not know his own background beyond his father. But he knows Bismarck, he knows Napoleon, he knows
Chelsea.
Now, all these things that he was preparing to do so that he can pass his exams. So whatever is beyond the scope of examination, he doesn't know.
Yeah.
Then I also asked him about the history of Uganda. He knows of course, most of the young people now, they know only one president of Uganda, the people who were born after 1986. I said, but before President Museveni, was there another president in Uganda? He said, yes, there was Amin and there was Obote. Now, he doesn't know why sometimes they say Obote 1 and Obote 2. When was Obote 1 there, when was Obote 2 there? In that, and I said, have you ever heard about Yusuf Rule? Have you ever heard about Godfrey Binaisa? Have you ever heard about Paulo Mwanga?
Tito Kero.
About Tito Kero. This person, the graduate of history with an A, doesn't know all these people. Because maybe they are not in the paper 1 and they are not in the paper 3. So if they are not in these papers that are examinable, then it is not his responsibility to do what? To know. But he's a historian. Coming back to that question about whether education is knowledge or skills.
Yes. He's saying that that our education is just a moment is skill centered than knowledge centered.
Yeah. Now the previously all these elements were there, but the dominant part was knowledge. Whoever had more knowledge than others was better than the other, and would have a better grade, having more knowledge. Now, the new curriculum is summarized in a word called Kusiva. Kusiva. K-U-S-V-A. It has those elements represented by those letters. The first one, of course, at the lower level is knowledge. The second one is understanding. Because somebody may know you, but may not understand you. Then another one is skills. The fourth one is values. And then finally, attitudes. So in anything that is going to be taught, in any topic, in any whatever aspect of education, we have to look at all those 5 elements. Summarized as what? As Kusiva. So knowledge is an important component, but also understanding. Understanding is some other level. Knowledge, then understanding. Because you might be knowing something, but which you don't do what? Which you don't understand. I may not be knowing the president of Uganda, but maybe a few people understand him. All of us know him, but a few of us understand him. And then the skills. When your education is based on knowledge, it means you are going to be asked on how much do you know about everything you have learned. But with skills, the question is, how much can you do? How much can you do with the knowledge you have? So we previously had many people with a lot of what they can reproduce either on paper or verbally, but with their hands they can't do anything. But now the new curriculum helps us to be able to perform, to do things. You find that the things that our professors of engineering cannot do here, in other countries they are done by primary school children. Like watches, computers, things, tools that we use in daily life. Matchboxes. We cannot do, not many people, not many engineers in Uganda know how they are made. But in other countries, you find they are done even at primary level, at secondary school level. So the skills-based education is the best. And if we are going to have a developed country, it must be based on skills. How much can we do? Because when you do something, then another person can also use it to do something else. So it becomes perpetuated development. Something can be used to do another thing. So I agree with this gentleman. Education should be skills based. Of course, you cannot have skills without knowledge. Knowledge is also important, but the skills must be given attention.
Mwebale mnonga bare vita ba Sky TV Oriari Education and Patriotism kandi turon tugamba anshonga za communication. How important is it? Na mnongo mugonjore bizivu. And studios nyine director wa Mina High School nyine Mr. Kiemba, this is a communication coach, and Honorable Karenje Gilbert Ukurgibanda gunomnyamahoro kandi is an analyst. Now gentlemen, we want to talk about the issue that the president talked about in a few minutes, because our time is not on the ally. Of recent, President Museveni was on the Women's Day celebrations in Sanga, and he was like, the Westerners do not know English. So, what do you have to say? I would have to first pose this question to this honorable here. Do you think the president was right? Obabe na etera go.
Yabare munonga mtakajire hare munonga nakantu kunyanzire ngo mbanze na sharing ho ni mwampaha
just briefly because of the
briefly enkagenda naba nyine umupolisi ari kugamba habya security ari kugambira abantu ataza muraja mu police bayambe mu kutebekanisa security yanyu ngwe barinde ngwe police barinde yagamba araje ataza umuntu wo kubanza umubya security umuntu wo kubanza kukurinda niwe hatesho kuyabira ryawo yabona nacita mu rujungu nti the first person to protect you is you yambuza togo rujungu ruhiciye karenje tuza kuchondoza rebe yaba I think it has to do with vocabulary ekitwa turaga being creative
and original.
President wihanga rya Uganda, His Excellency Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, I think he needs to be sensitive with some of his speech, because at some point urashanga ari kwetere nanka kwetere kijinji.
I pray we don't go political.
You introduced UPE bona bashome bashomo rujungu bashomo kushoma bashomo kwandika bashome, that is bona bashoma. I think they went to school starting from 90, because your issue was lack of educated people, illiteracy and whatever you wanted to fault illiteracy. And it is very unfortunate that at some point they give us reports that many Ugandans, I think around 90%, they talk of more than 90%, that Ugandans are nowadays illiterate. But now we are talking of people who don't know how to express themselves. Are they illiterate? Now at the end of it all, you are the very one.
Illiteracy no tamanya kushoma na kwandika.
Yes. So kuwa remwa kushoma wa expressing, okay? You are unable to read newspapers and what you have gone to school, but you are unable to read, and you have no guts. You are not interested even in newspapers, in the books that have been written by these educationists and whatever. And so that means you lack something in you. Now, the president comes out to say that Westerners or Ugandans, he can even speak universally,
was he
do
right
not know
or
English.
What is the validity of his
He
statement?
was partly right, and the other side he was wrong, because we have people who know English. I mean, we can speak English, but we have also a big number of people who do not know English. They can try to speak it, but they don't know.
What do you think made the president or prompted him to say that?
Of course, he knows. He meets them in public. He meets them. Some of them find him in a state house. Some of them are mobilized.
But let me come back to you. Let me come back to you, Director. Yes, let me pose this question to you as an educationist from the higher institutions of learning and the director of the school. Nimayangu, you are empowering millions and millions in your school and the rest of the society. Is it what do you think? Well, how is the validity of the statement, President Museveni?
Yeah, thank you very much. I think our president is an exposed person. He has interacted with all the tribes of Uganda.
True.
And to a large extent, I think he was right. Because Westerners, we cover a big area where languages can intersect. Like the Wachiga, Banyankore, Banyoro, Bantoro, all these people can understand one another. Even if one speaks Rutoro, the Wachiga will understand. But if you go to other parts of the country, there are small areas where when you move for a short distance, you go to a different language. So I think they have been forced to learn English. During my bachelor, the time when I was doing my first degree, I was in Mbale, I was in Bugisu. IU. And I was surprised when you would go to a market, every market vendor would communicate in English. And during that time, in the early 90s, here in Ankole, people who don't speak English, apart from those ones who are in office. So maybe the situation has slightly changed, but when you compare with other tribes, the Westerners are behind. The other tribes know English, even when they have not gone to school. They can speak English.
Thank you so much, Bwana Director. And Otakarjira Kazindaro, what are you doing, you as Westerners, given that the Fountain of Honor has now mounted this blame on you, kujangu Westerners tubakumanya rujungu. Imwe nkaba mashomero mwine ntebe kansachi yoku disproving President Museveni as far as communication is concerned.
But why disprove him when he is right? I think maybe to change the status quo.
To solve the problem.
To solve the problem.
Yes.
But unfortunately, even the local language, there is a dilemma.
Runyankore?
The Runyankore. People, the Runyankore don't know Runyankore.
As if Runyankore birebe no bashomeso mashomero ga Western.
There are a few who want to take it as a subject. The people who register that subject as a subject.
So they are looking at a world beyond Western Uganda.
Beyond Western Uganda. So, but I think, what can I say?
What are you doing as schools to solve this problem? Because the president is right, as you say.
Yes.
But we need to. And you are the people who manufacture communication, because you teach these children in school. So
I think it is still an issue of leadership. But you see, there are many things which no longer happen. Like the rate at which schools would be inspected, the rate at which a number of things were happening. But now, I think many schools are at different levels of operation. They are no longer operating at the same level. You find a school which is in the town, like Intare School, and a school which is deep in the village. They are the same. They are the same category of schools. They are secondary school. They are secondary schools. But what is being delivered in the school is not the same. Even when it is clear that when they do exams, they will not get the same results, even from word go.
Thank you so much,
there is a big discrepancy of the levels of education. But I think for us to be able to learn English, the schools still have a role.
And to communicate effectively.
The head teachers must continue giving enough platform to the learners to speak, to write. Many schools have writers' clubs. They even publish, by the way, what my friend was talking about, being able to create knowledge. When you read the school magazines, what the students write at school level, you find the articles that each child sat down and did what? and composition, writing an article about maybe anything that they want, new topics that they have never even heard about, that are not conventional topics. So that is the creativity. But schools, of course, there is an element of cost of what, but schools should encourage learners to write articles. Even have competitions in schools. They say that if a person who has been the best writer in this term will be considered on assembly and maybe even be given a reward as somebody who has been writing so eloquently, so many times, so frequently as a writer. Somebody learning to do what? To write. So there are all these opportunities, but I think the leaders of schools have to emphasize them, have to pay attention to them. Sometimes you find schools, students have come up with their own innovation, they are creating a club, and then the school doesn't want to support it. So I think we call upon the head teachers to allow children platform for expression, to express themselves in writing, in reading, in presenting news on the assemblies. I know most of the children in my school who used to read news on assembly, today they are news anchors on the different stations. They have them at TV West. And I think because this station is new, but I know very soon
they will also come.
We shall have them.
Thank
there.
you so much, bwana director. Mulebe witu munjo wa Sky TV turoho director yanatugambira ngo enshonga eri kuletera abantu abo urungu rwaba problem maybe ni exposure. So yangu oshome kozesa opportunities zone that come your way oshome wase kushoma love reading, have attitude ninka okwa kubasa okubano yehura mu kintu ekyo cyoro. So in this context ron tugamba kushoma ninga shono communicating, have good attitude about communication aza kibase kuyamba omanyangu communication helps to solve a problem. He says Museveni okuyagambire na Museveni was right akabashikire mu Uganda na mnonga ba Western Uganda rungu nrwachi bakwata kubi abo kusinga tubakurufa umunonga. Unlike time eri enyuma ho kugira ngo abantu aba Western urujungu rukar problem kabatagamba ahandi noza kushanga abantu ma communicating umujungu konko mu Western uriya no munamusi umujungu agaruka mu murunyakore, which is a very big problem. So director nagira ngo abantu musheme kwego kushoma, musheme kundo kwandika, musheme kujoininga debates, abazire encourage your children to join these clubs babase kwega communicating. Bwana Kiyemba,
yes sir.
How can one be a good communicator? Just in 2 minutes.
Allow me first to comment on the president's remarks.
Yes.
The president was making a functional wake-up call to all Westerners to garner strength and fight mind stagnancy, fixed mindset. That is what he is looking at. So we shouldn't criticize him so much. It's just kicking our pants. He's raising our personal ambiances to immediately start challenging the mind stagnancy. Can you come again with your question?
How can one be a good speaker?
It is
just a moment before you come in. I have issues with our system. Director, listen to this person. I have issues with our system where students still get punishments for expressing themselves in indigenous languages. China is where it is, not because of emphasizing the language of the foreign masters. This is teacher Mugume Peter. Hey, Peter, you are watching. Thank you so much, Peter, for watching, and we are grateful. This is Mugume Peter is a teacher watching us. Before I come back to you, what do you have to say, Bwana Director, over this?
That's why I said we have a dilemma. We are being blamed for not knowing English, but the only way we can learn English is to have enough time to practice it. And by remaining in the indigenous language, we are not getting enough platform to learn the new language, the English. But of course, we recognize the fact that the indigenous language is also what? Important. But me, I don't think that the indigenous languages should be learned from school. They should be learned from home. There should be enough time at home, enough platform at home for people to learn their mother tongue. That's why they call it mother tongue. So it is not the responsibility of schools to teach mother tongues. After all, the schools of these days are intersection. You find a school in Mbarara has a quarter of the children are from the east, others are from the north, others from even outside the country. Now if you go to school to teach indigenous language, which one do you teach?
Now it is a bit tricky.
If it was a country like Rwanda, you can teach it in Rwanda in every school in the whole country.
Because Peter is saying these children are getting punishments for speaking their local language. Konkana young the developed countries like China, they are what they are because they value their language.
Still, it goes back to you see, when you don't know the histories of different countries, you get a challenge. China speaks one language. All of them, everybody in China is a Chinese. So all of them speak Chinese. So which language should Ugandans speak? And we call that one a national language, an indigenous language for Uganda. So the challenges of Uganda are definitely different from the problems of what? Of China. You cannot solve the problems of Uganda using the model of what? Of China. The Banyankore have a saying, ngu size ukarayo mutwe niyo kuhereza ntega. The Bashungu say that you cut your coat according to your clothes. So I don't think that we can solve the problems of knowledge composition, knowledge development using a local language in Uganda, because we don't have, unless we first develop a language that is for all of us as what? As Ugandans.
Okay, the national language.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Bwana Director. So, Mr. Chiemba, as we conclude also, your parting shot, telling us how one can become a good speaker.
It's a process. It is a process. It doesn't come miraculously because there are different systems. Focus stands, Mr. Director, for knowledge generation, publication, mobilization and demonstration. So I humbly request you to lead a team for Western Uganda. A team that we shall cooperate with. We organize schools, teachers, parents. We come for these knowledge demonstrations. And then we immediately get started.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Mr. Karenje, you are parting short because time, we see these people are chasing me from the studios. You need to wind up.
Yeah, there is something more I want also to express. Westerners do not know English. Maybe even other parts of Uganda do not know English. Is it the reason we have corruption? Is it the reason our people cannot be transformed from one state to another one?
What are you trying to say, Wana Giribati?
English is a problem according to the president, isn't it, of Westerners.
But leave alone the president.
Could it be blamed for corruption? That because Westerners do not know English, that is why there is corruption in our local governments, in the districts and whatever. Could it be the reason as to why we can't have good leaders, maybe? Good leaders in Western Uganda or even the whole country? Could it be the reason as to why iron sheets?
Let us leave iron sheets alone.
Because we can, like we have been talking, some countries they have their national languages. Of course, emanating from their own countries, not foreign. English is the foreign language that the president would wish that we speak very well here in Uganda.
You have parting short.
What could be the importance of speaking the best English in Uganda? We have very good English speakers, but they are thieves.
So what are you saying?
I'm trying to mean we are supposed to pay attention to issues that matter so much, not English.
Thank you so much. Bwana Director, your parting short.
I think communication is important, and to communicate is to be able to make people understand your message in the way you want them to understand, so that you not misinform the public.
It doesn't be broke.
Yes. So, and it doesn't matter which language. If you are communicating in local, because if you are talking to local people in your locality, you must also have mastery of the local language of that area. So I think, to that extent, I agree with the other person who says that people should be given a time to also learn their language. But of course, as you know, when you go to school, you want to become international. You are not being trained to serve only one village. You serve your village, but you also become an international figure. You have to go to the whole world. You become global. To you, the world should become a village. You should find the simplicity wherever you go.
Maybe something small. Chinese are employed in Uganda here. They are given contracts and whatever, yet they don't know English, Mr. Director. Yet they speak only Chinese.
You can't use Runyankole like Chinese. As I told you, the issues of China are different from the issues of, like, for example, Runyankole. The Chinese are almost equal to the rest of the population minus the Chinese in the whole world. So even if you want to see which languages are most widely spoken in the world, I think Chinese still becomes one of the most widely spoken languages. I forget the statistics, but I think people who speak Chinese are almost more than people who speak English. Because of the number of the what? Of the Chinese. Now, with Runyankole, you cannot influence the world.
Thank you so much, Bwana Director. Dear viewers, abarevitu aba Sky TV Education and Patriotism debate ningira ngo tukabasa kugiheza abubwire konka iyo murebi uto yanatureba twantugamba nshonga za communication. Umuntu nosa kubota a very good speaker no basagambota okakozesa ukugamba kwa ninga effective communication or solving problems. Enseji netambura are problems. Hazo kushoma ninga shokugamba ushemekwa no gamba in a developmental talk erikubasa kusolvinga different problems as in society. So communication is important. Abagambe bitu bagira ngo you should get exposed because the opportunities zone ziriho obase kushoma obase kurura abo kugamba kandi obase kuri ana Sky TV. By the way, abo kubantu ho kwegera ukabasa kumanya what you are going to talk, confidence noza kugihayi nebyo kuzagamba kandi noza kubugambota kugira ngo message yawe ebasa kwikomuka. Bitu ntakarigira akazindaranye nakubizi cyangwa biro mushanju university ino mulimbara tune kiguda cha Sky TV nza ko bantu ronginga Sky TV na radio 5 mulimbara ija tuliye tunywe kandi tubase kurara ntuchachanje nkabajyanuniza kubazinda optional dance yakabi. So aba presenters ba Sky TV bona bakubabaraho bitu guma Sky TV otargaho kandi education and patriotism gumano gireba till Saturday nyikiriza mpenderaha. Bye bye, see you again.
Sky TV irakari abantu.
Ekigunda cha Sky TV Radio 5 kwatanise na Sky TV baba isama kuru marungi g'ekigunda cha Sky TV ebiro mushanju byo kwakana eryabe Good Friday emirimo yona neija kwemerera ahabwo kuberya beri yanga emihanda yona eryabe yorekerire University in Mbarara imwe mwena abaturani bareba Sky TV na nimwe mwena abaturani bahurikiza Radio 5 Sky TV yagaruka yeta mwena mwije tushemererwa hamwe tuzine dance turye tushemererwe hari abeshongozi bamani bona kurwo mu Western n'abandi bamani kurwo muri Kampala bebembirwe Shiba Karungi Roy G na Omega 256 okutaha muno mutwaro gumwegonka rero VIP emitwaro ebiri emeza yagura kasente kace emitwaro 5 yonka yabana tutahamo kutandika na shaha munana zihangwe paka busheshire utaferwa munywani wanje aho niho rimanyira presenters bona ba Sky TV na ba presenters ba Radio 5 okaganira nabo live and clear ebiro mushanu byo kwakana Good Friday bikushanjori po nyaburama mwije turonchinge TV yitu Sky TV irakarya abantu okwenda kumanya bikiraho teresime yaziro mushanu mushanjina nshanju atano nina shanju nina nango tere yaziro mushanju 0 emwe 92 82 ananishatu ebyo byona bishajikigwe Sky TV Star 5 Motel Radio 5
ngenu nyowe na unakubanja drip muryare banareta na muryango mpagatira amacupa
ukuriya kwenari kunga shemere ndi kurya